What's going on, people? This is AKD, aka Arise King David. You're locked into A-Star World. This is our entertainment and culture. Keep it.
Show them no mercy, baby. Huh?
So first of all, I want to get into something that I always ask pretty much everyone that I speak to.
Yeah.
What's in the name?
Okay.
What's the meaning behind the name King
Okay.
David?
All right. Good question. All right. Firstly, it's not even just King David. It's Arise King David.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's the full thing, and it comes basically from First, when I first came out and I was first rapping, I went by the name of Flawless, and I was kind of christened, if you like. One of the people I was rhyming with at the time called me Flawless. Yeah. Then I went by the name Dark Knight. I was like, it's a production name. There wasn't necessarily any real meaning to it. I just liked the sound of it. Okay. And then Arise King David came from basically when I was with Strictly Business before. I'd done a lot of I had like production credits and I'd done verses on other people's songs and stuff. I didn't have anything of my own. So it came to the point where after many years, I sort of thought, all right, now let me get a project out for myself. How am I going to put myself out there? And I thought, yeah, all right, it's time for me to arise. So that's where the name Arise came from.
Right, okay.
And obviously I'm a king in it. Like David's my real name, Christian. I'm a king, so Arise King David. That's where it came from.
Nice. So you just mentioned with regards to Strictly Business, and I take it that was the original group you started off in.
Yeah, well, it started off actually as a record label, an entertainment company, and we had artists like Stamina on there and Blemish, Manic. And we had a group called Frontline Soldiers, which I was part of as well. And yeah, we were doing our thing back in sort of like from the early 2000s, from 2000 up until 2005, and we'd made like a little bit of local impact and whatnot. You know, we've been on like on the circuit. We were doing the whole selling the CDs on road kind of thing as well. We'd performed at different shows, opening up for Acorn and Game and stuff. Been up Choice and Westwood and blah blah blah. But you know how things always go. You know, creative differences and stuff. So we disbanded, and then kind of everyone went and did their own thing. I continued with the music, and yeah, and then here I am today. Really.
Nice. So with how black entertainment or black music is received in the UK, what made you want to get into the whole music side of things? You know,
because I think I've always liked music since growing up. Not even just listening to music of black origin. It's just been just music
in general.
Yeah, loved it. Like my parents always listened to music, and so I can't necessarily tell you the defining moment when I said, yeah, it's gonna be music for me. I've just always done it.
Yeah.
I've just always done it. You know, even in school, just making up songs like in music lessons and stuff like that. I've just always done it. I think with regard to hip hop in particular, the thing that grabbed me, I think, must have been Wu-Tang's first album. Yeah, 36 Chambers. Yeah. And I actually remember watching Mystery of Chess Boxing, and just listening to Wu. It kind of like it included all the sort of things I was into as I was growing up. You know what I mean? The things I like. Like number one, I like hip hop anyway, so I listen to rap, I listen to hip hop, and then the fact that the characters, the names as well, like Ghostface Killer and stuff. I used to watch a lot of kung fu flicks with my dad and stuff.
Right,
so 36 Chambers and Ghostface Killer and stuff like that. I was like,
the
right,
references
okay,
and
yeah.
stuff.
So I was like, oh, I know what they're talking about. I know what they're talking about. And then my comics as well, Marvel comics. Iron Man and stuff like, you know, Ghost's first album was Iron Man and stuff like that. I thought, okay, yeah, so they seem to, you know,
speak to
represent. Yeah, it definitely spoke to me on that level. And I thought, yeah, it's a good way to express myself, the different things that I like about, you know, different things that I'm into. It's a good platform for me to get it out there and share myself with other people. Like, you know, try and get creative.
But in terms of the UK, where they either sideline a lot of black music, unless it's really, really bubblegum and commercial, or unless you're in there with about how many white guys and you'd be like the only token black person on top of the pops. Why still did you then think, is it a UK market for you, or is it just because you're here?
It's worldwide. It's just because I'm here. It's just because I'm here. It's worldwide. Yeah, there's been times when I thought like jacking it all in because I thought, you know, it's not gonna happen. Like there's no progress being made here because, like you say, you do get sidelined, and you know, if you're making music of substance, no one really wants to hear it, or so it seemed.
Yeah.
It's a mad one. I mean, when Strictly Business disbanded, I wasn't making music for a while. A lot of it, I mean, I wasn't making music to release or anything. But I was still sort of dabbling here and there. And a lot of it comes from the girl I was with at the time, who's my wife now.
Oh wow, okay.
She was really supportive of everything that I was doing, you know. She really helped to inspire me, nice. To really go forward and
pursue.
Just her belief in me kind of reignited what I had already, and it got to a point, you know, I became kind of more pragmatic in terms of what I was doing with the music, because I went and did a diploma in sound engineering. So I was always in and out of the studio and stuff. You know, the stuff I learnt when I was in the studio, but I decided to go and get a qualification behind that and set up a company called DM Sound Design.
Okay.
So with that, I am producing, doing soundtracks, sound design, effects, all that kind of thing on TV, film, radio, theatre, stuff like that. So I was always dabbling anyway. And it just made sense that, you know what, I finally reached a place where I thought, you know what, regardless of what's going to come of the music, of my music, my passion, which is hip hop, I'm going to do it because I want to share it. You know what I mean? I've got something I want to share with the world, so I thought, let me just get out there and just put it out and see what happens. Whatever happens, happens in God's hands. So
in doing that, how have you found your experience thus far from when you began to where you are now?
Yeah, well, it's mad. It's like, and this, it's a good way even to lead into my first album, first LP, which is called Free Music. That's the mindset. It was a liberating experience, because I felt like putting out that LP was literally, it was representing me at the time, whereby I was free because I wasn't trying to chase a dream or chase, you know, I wasn't trying to chase celebrity or fame or money or anything like that. I wasn't constrained by the usual factors that when people are getting into music, they want to be this, that and the rest of it. But basically, I had no record label telling me what to do, when to do it, or anything like that. I was able to say whatever I wanted to say, you know. It's also called Free Music because it's a free download as well. But so it was a very liberating experience for me, and the response I got was overwhelmingly positive. And that just spurred me on to say, all right, let me continue and do some more. I got to do some collaborations with some of the artists that I was listening to at the time, who really inspired me as well. So that was, you know, it was, that was big for me. Yeah, definitely.
When you mentioned just now about not having to fall into the trappings of the industry, and you were able to do what you wanted to say, what you wanted, do you feel a lot of times with hip hop artists at the moment, especially in the UK, that you tend to see on, was it like Channel U, and I don't know what they've renamed it, AKA, where it seems to be, it's a lot of drug selling, gangs, violence, blah blah blah. Do you feel like people play into that stereotype too much?
I think so, yeah, definitely. But then there is also a lot out, if you dig, there's also a lot of substance out there as well.
Yeah.
So I want to be careful not to even say that it's oversaturated with the nonsense talk, because there's a lot of people out there doing good stuff at the moment right now, and it's a good place to be right now in the UK, especially with hip hop. I think hip hop in general, people are just coming back out. You know, people from the older artists and stuff like that are coming back out. People with substance are saying, look, enough is enough. Or rather than just moaning about it, they're saying, let me do something about it, and they're putting themselves forward. And I'm happy because it's giving me lots of inspiration.
That's brilliant, because I feel like, I'm not going to name the artist, but there was a particular artist who came out with a track and it was really, really positive. But clearly from wherever he was from, it wasn't looked at as such. Next minute, about a year later, I see this guy with a new track and he's gone totally the other way.
Yeah. Pressures of a label, pressures of, that's what I say, you can make really good music, and sometimes because of what you're saying, the content, it might not get airplay. And again, I think it depends what your ultimate goal is. If your aim is to be on the top of the charts and making a lot of money, and yeah, there's pressures you're going to cater to in some instances. But conversely, every now and again, someone will come through and buck the trend, and may get that spotlight and have nothing but music of substance and positivity to put out.
Do you think that with the younger generation at the moment who listen to a lot of hip hop, especially UK based hip hop, now getting so much attention from the younger people because of places like AKA and so forth, do you feel that there is a market for music of substance where people are being positive and people are telling you their experiences without telling you that they're having to hold a gun and sell crack or sell coke and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's definitely a market for it. There's definitely a market for it. It's called the underground. Right. I think music from the underground, music from the underground doesn't necessarily have to stay underground, but in terms of where it comes from, it's underground, okay? And it's always going to be there. I think it's had to go back underground as well in order for it to refine and for it to be recreated and to come out again with the rawness that we're hearing nowadays from certain artists. There's definitely a market for it, but again, I would say it's not just UK. We have to think a bit wider than
global,
because it has to be global, because like the way hip hop is now, especially, it's a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know? It influences everybody through every walk of life. You know, it's mad.
I was gonna say about, do you feel if it's been exploited, or are the artists, hip hop artists, selling out to get that recognition once again? Because it's great to be on the underground, but some people want to give it more exposure and maybe lose themselves in the process. But
no doubt it happens.
I feel it's been slightly exploited.
Oh, no doubt, definitely. It's the biggest market. Like I said, it influences everybody, from clothes to the way they talk to music to, you know, as a culture, it's permeated just about every single facet of people's lives. Even if you're not into hip hop, I bet you've said something that derives from hip hop, or you know, you've worn an item of clothing, or it's in your house, it's in your TV, through advertising, through whatever. It's you can't escape it. I don't think there's any other musical genre that's done that. And so it's a big, massive marketing tool. So definitely it's been exploited. And even the word selling out, I think it kind of, again, I'll go back to what your goals were from the beginning, because if your goals were to use this platform, use hip hop or use rap or music to get yourself up there, to be in a spotlight, then it's not necessarily selling out, it's doing what you said you were going to do in the first place. And if we give it over to the industry to be able to manipulate and to be able to control and dictate and tell you what's hot, then people that are conforming to that, can you blame them? If they don't know what the culture is and what hip hop is and where it came from, what it's all about, then can you blame them for just following what's already out there as a means to an end?
I hear that.
You know?
So now we're just focusing slightly back to your stuff. Tell us about your first mixtape, which was what, Between Projects?
Between Projects, literally that came like a year after I dropped Free Music, and that was a collection of some tracks that I had before I put out Free Music, some old tracks. It came with some new tracks, a few collaborations, and I just basically wanted to put them together, basically just to have some material to put out there whilst I'm working on between the old project, the first project, and the new project that I'm working on at the moment. But it kind of developed. I was just going to put out a few tracks here and there. Then I thought, hold on, actually I've got quite a lot of material here, and I decided, let me get it mixed. So I've got Mr. Dex on board, DJ at HFM. You should check him out. He's very talented. Love what he does. And he put everything together. He blended it, mixed it up, chopped it up nicely, put some cuts on there. So it's keeping that that tradition of what a mixtape actually is. Do you know what I mean? And it sews together nicely. There's a seamless, mix through the whole thing. So and that's available on the website as well, arisekingdavid.com, free download.
So what was your thinking behind when you were doing that project?
Yeah.
Was there a process in that, or
Um,
was there anything that
again, it kind of happened. I didn't start out meaning to make that a project. I basically had some tracks, but then I thought, let me put out some content, and then halfway through that, I thought, do you know what? Let me turn this into a mixtape, an actual full project that I can put out there, and so I did some tracks specifically for that. A lot of the tracks I just had like single tracks here and there, but then I started doing tracks specifically for between projects. I said, yeah, let me put it together.
What you were saying before, actually, which I just want to pick up on, you mentioned about you said about Mr. Dex
Yeah,
putting the cuts in there, making it what a mixtape should be.
yeah, yeah.
Do you feel at the moment, once again, mixtapes was something that was, to a certain degree, around people who are really into their hip hop and their music, and now all of a sudden it seems to be mixtape are all the rage.
Yeah. That is something. I mean, to be honest, previously, so before even doing the free music LP, I'd flirted with the idea of doing a mixtape first, but I kind of shied away from doing mixtapes because of that kind of thing. Everyone's doing mixtape.
Yeah.
I wanted to put together a project that was thought out carefully from beginning to end, that told a story from the first track right to the end. Not necessarily a linear story, but a sonic story. You know how like an LP used to be, like you put it in and you're taken through emotions and different moods, and you know, like a soundtrack. You know, that's what the LP was. That's what free music was. And then that's why with the mixtape I didn't want to just fling tracks down, which is what it was going to be, just putting tracks out.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure it was mixed and blended, and it was hip hop. It was representing what mixtape used to be. But yeah, it is people. I think to an extent is laziness as well. If everyone just puts out mixtape, how much thought has gone into it? I think when you're doing an LP, it takes a lot more thought and it's a lot more artistic. You have to be a lot more creative. Whereas when you're doing an LP, you don't necessarily, a mixtape, you don't necessarily have to follow any particular, you know, formula, or not to say you're not being creative in the track you're making, but I think as a collective, as a piece of work, a mixtape is an easier option.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's because I feel there's certain artists who were in hip hop who are quite commercial, where their mixtape got more recognition than the album and stuff and LP.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know if that's a part of the reason why all of a sudden mixtapes have become the thing to have, or whether the consumers are doing it from a purist quote unquote point of view.
No, it's true. No, it's possible. It's possible because if you think about it, if you're making a mixtape, you could make like you could basically be aiming to have like anything between 10, 50, however many tracks you got. Yeah, you could be making like 15 singles.
Yeah.
But when you're making an album, you're thinking about album tracks,
right,
which are slightly different. I think when you're making a single. If you're making a single, you're looking to appeal to the masses sometimes.
Yeah.
I say sometimes, that's not necessarily the case always. But for certain artists, they make every track they're looking at is a potential banger.
Yeah.
That's in terms of this will get, you know, airplay. This can be in the clubs, not clubbing especially. Do you know what I mean? That's a big factor. My music, some tunes you can play in the clubs, but my music isn't for the clubs. Do you know what I mean? Like the kind of music it's not for the clubs. It's for someone has to listen to what I'm saying. You know, the beats are banging, but you're gonna listen to what I'm saying. It's not like party music like that.
That's another thing. I mean, you touched on, which I'm going to bring up. I like playing devil's advocate, really. Where I feel, again, if we go back to 80s all the way through to let's take it further back to when hip hop actually began, and not just hip hop, but music in general. Up until I say about 94, 95, and it became all about the beat and not the artist or what the artist was saying. Right. So how do you keep from falling into that, number one? And how do you feel that now it's almost as if someone could blow up just because of a beat and not because they've actually got any talent?
So yeah, you're right. Again, let me not say that's actually necessarily a bad thing. You know, I think it really does come down to personal taste and what you're into. Sometimes I listen to a track and I can't necessarily hear, or I don't even hear what the person's saying, but the beat will just get me. It's just one of them ones that just grabs you, isn't it? Sometimes you might listen to a track just for that. You know know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to listen to a tune just because the tune makes you feel a certain way, the beat makes you feel a certain way, then fair enough. Me personally, more time I like to listen to the message behind the track and what's being said. Because I like listening to stories, or I like listening to wordplay, and you know, even what you're saying doesn't even necessarily have to be positive, but there has to be some artistry or some, you know, there's got to be some flair or something about the way you're putting it together, for me personally. But yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, a lot of, I'd say, like when I started hearing like a lot of down south music and stuff like that, I thought a lot of that was
just beat.
Do you know what I mean? It's about beat more than what you're saying and stuff like that. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Just personal taste. So, yeah,
that means the producers should be getting their moment on camera to say
yeah. That's
and
true.
sideline the artist.
That's true. No, but that's how producers start getting big as well, and you start hearing a lot of producers' names and stuff because their beats are banging in the clubs.
True.
Banging in the clubs. So.
You recently, last time I saw you, you were just about to make your way to New York.
Yeah.
I want to hear a bit more about it because I don't think I've actually caught up with you since.
Basically, it was last year October. Went to New York because this was because of the project I'm working on now called Universal Language.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got like quite a few features on there from some well-known names and some respected names in hip hop and people that I used to listen to growing up. So that was really like it's been a humbling experience so far doing that. I've been gassed. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been it's been amazing. And that's one of the reasons I went to New York, because I met up with AG from DITC.
Okay.
And recorded a video out there for the track No Mercy.
Okay.
Which is a single released from Universal Languages, out now. Again, you can get that from arisecingdavid.com. It was an amazing experience, man. It was I loved it.
How did you find the scene compared to the scene over there in terms of hip hop?
Well, it's where the Bronx. I was in the Bronx, and that's where hip hop came from. That's where it was born. So I felt I had to make that sojourn. You know, the way that I'm in love with the genre, the way that hip hop has impacted my life. I thought I had to go to where it came from, where it all began. And it's so prominent. It's just there. It's so prominent. Like I was saying before, you go to certain shops and stuff like that, and you're just walking around and you're hearing the realness, you're hearing it there. Yeah. And it's so accessible. People live it. You know. When I was out there, I went to one club, Sutra Lounge, and Tony Touch was DJing there. Cool Herc walks in like it's nothing, you know, and I'm like, wow, Cool Herc, and you know, obviously he's getting love when he's going in there, but you know, that's where it lives. You know? And, there was like a little circle forming, people started, you know, popping and locking and stuff like that, you know, so like it wasn't contrived, that's just what they do. Yeah. You know, that's where it comes from. So, and it lives there, exactly, it lives there, so.
Do they I know in America a lot of times they don't even believe we have ghettos and we all talk posh and drink tea. Did you get a lot of that while you were out there when you were saying you're a hip hop artist and so forth?
No. Everyone. I mean, I was asked when I was going around. People were asking, you know, are there projects out there and stuff like that. And we've got our high rises and stuff around here. Obviously, it's different. There is a different vibe there, definitely. But no one really took the piss regarding like tea and stuff like that. Everyone kind of respected it. And I think everyone knows there's wherever you go, wherever there's places where there's poverty or you know wherever, there's always going to be a ghetto, if you like. But having said that, like the kind of experience I had a hood experience. I didn't have the tourist experience. It was pretty deep out there, you know. It was pretty deep. The things that I was seeing to the levels that I don't necessarily see over here. Growing up where I grew up, you know where he grew up, so you know you see a lot of stuff here. But yeah, it was like literally when I was there, it was like being in a cross between GTA and The Wire.
Yeah, it's that real.
Some of the things I was seeing, I was like, right, okay, really? Really? Okay, cool. But I had a good time. The people I was with, they were showing me around and stuff like that. You know, that's it. They gave me that experience. You know, I went to Washington Heights. I was drinking nutcrackers and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved the experience.
You lived it. Happy days.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier on about your current single, No Mercy.
Yeah.
And I believe, did you shoot that in New York or?
Yeah, that was shot in Bronx. Yeah, Mott Haven and Patterson.
Tell us a bit more, like meaning behind No Mercy and your video shoot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, No Mercy. Literally, it's about it's a social commentary, and it's literally talking about having no mercy for those people who are trying to hurt me, and those people being, if you like, those in control who try and take away your personal liberties. You know, anybody that's trying to stop me from living and being free, basically. Not just me, but my people I represent, people in humanity, if you like.
Yeah.
Because there's no doubt that we're in chains, and some of us think we're free, but we're not. Even me, I'm free to an extent, but I can see my conditioning. You know, so it's against all of that, basically. And that came about through linking up with AG online. Again, the whole Universal Language project came from I put a profile up on Conspiracy Worldwide Radio.
Okay.
Yeah, the social networking beat I think they put up. I put my profile up on there, and then one Australian producer found my profile, heard my stuff, listened to my LP, and was like, "Yo, I've got these contacts. Do you want to do some collaborations?" And I was like, "Yeah, sounds good. Why not?" I've got some contacts too. We put a few bits and pieces together. It was originally going to be like an EP, a few tracks. And then from getting talking and stuff, we realised that we were really in the same kind of space at that moment in time, and we shared a lot of similar viewpoints on the music in general and on hip hop. And we thought, you know what, let's take this further and build it into an LP.
Nice.
And I mean it's all about the fact that hip hop is a universal language, and we've got some really exciting collaborations.
That's good.
AG being one of them.
And so, bringing it together, what's next for you and your up and coming project?
Right, gonna finish this Universal Language project. I'm working with artists over here, working with UK artists in the States, Australia. I've got Phoenix the Icefire on there, Big Cake, Cyclonius. I've got Tragedy Gaddafi on there, got Master Ace. Gonna shoot a video for the Master Ace track in a couple of months.
Nice.
And more, I don't want to give it all away now, but there's more on there. And I'll link up with Deep Star. The producer's name is Deep Star, that's the Australian producer. And I'll link up with him again for another project down the line. But after this collaborative project, it's going to be another solo project. And right now I'm looking to do some more shows. I haven't done a show in a minute. So promoters, get on the website. I'm looking for more shows. So yeah.
Okay, wait. Really quickly, this is actually not even part of anything, but I gotta ask. Hip hop in Australia. I don't know why. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, it's random, innit? It seems random. Do you know what? But I remember, right? Like through some old work I was doing, some friend. I linked up with a couple of people. Some of my colleagues, from Eat Good Records, Eat Good Records, Lewis, what you saying, right? And I remember one of the prominent artists on there, Sonny Jim. I remember Lewis telling me about him going to Australia and going on air out there and stuff like that. I thought, okay, Australia, really? I didn't know hip hop was big out there. But then speaking to Deep Star as well, it's not that big out there.
Yeah.
It actually isn't that big out there. But there are some people that feel it, you know? And
so it's almost like an underground scene.
Yeah, it's definitely an underground scene out there. But the level that it's felt at, like it's the connection that I had with Deep Star, it was just real. He's into his proper hip hop, you know what I mean? The deep stuff. And so it's like, alright, why not? Why not? Why not? You know, why not? He sent me the beats were on point. He's always sending me new beats. He's very talented, really creative. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it, you know?
Alright, cool.
No mercy for the wicked who tried to hurt me. Touch my family, I'm fighting